Hello YouTube, I'm back again with another video, and this is a custom duel that I'm gonna remind you guys. And the opponent I'm after, like if you could see by the chat logs, I'm facing against a gambling player or a guy who relies heavily on luck and coins, dice rolls, if you know what I mean. Yeah. So he's gonna gamble for the win, while I'm just gonna go straight up and set up my board. Sorry about my throat, you guys, but like I said, I start off really well. I activate Allegian Fairy's Spirit Worlds effect. When this card's activated, I can pay 1,000 life points to add Allegian Fairy from my deck, or I mean a fairy type from my deck to my hand. And then I special summon Archaeologist because it's added from my deck to the hand. And then he gets an additional effect when he's normal special summoned. I gain an additional normal summon of an Allegian Fairy monster from my hand. And I'll just show you my opponent's hand. So he's playing a coin toss dice roll deck. So he heavily relies on the field spell to basically change his die rolls or his coin rolls. Yep. So my mistake. To basically change his coin tosses. But he did notice he did talk about the problem card solving text. So it is confusing for both players to read. And then from here on out, I normal summon War Maiden thanks to Archaeologist effect, and I attribute it to summon Black Mage. I'll use Black Mage's effect to search for an Allegian Fairy card from my deck to the hand. Let me fast forward here so you can see what I'm adding. I'm going to be selecting White Mage from my deck, and eventually I'm going to special summon her, and I'll use her discard effect to discard a card and add either a continuous spell or field spell directly from my deck to my hand. And I'm adding another Allegian Fairy's Dream just to help me thin my deck out. So let's fast forward here and then go into a synchro summon for Dragon Maiden, which happens to be a level 8 synchro monster. And I'll use their effect to gain 1,500 life points since I control face-up spell card. And for you guys who aren't aware, she's the Allegian Fairy synchro monster is meant to be a counterpart of Ancient Fairy Dragon, but as a fairy synchro monster. So she helps you with of course, her effect applies to field spells, retrieving one field spell from your graveyard to hand on top of gaining life points while you control face-up spell card, not a trap card, sorry. And my opponent takes 1,000, and I gain 1,000 because their effects are mandatory when used for a synchro summon. And then I'll be activating Allegian Fairy's Dreams effect. So I'll be targeting I'll be targeting one monster, but I gotta pay 1,000 life points. So I target a fairy monster, special summon one fairy type monster with a different name in my graveyard. But still a cost, and I use War Maiden's effect to special summon Black Mage from my graveyard, and I'll be able to go into another synchro summon, as you see here. That'll be the level 7 Allegian Fairy Knight, and he'll be using, before I even do anything, just make sure if there's any effects that have to be reminded of that I haven't activated yet. Okay, so I'm telling my opponent it's a hard once per turn, that he doesn't lose another 1,000, just good enough. I'll use Knight's effect to special summon Druid from my hand to the field. Her effect activates, shuffling three fairy type monsters from my graveyard to the deck, and I get to draw 2 cards. I already drew an awesome hand. These cards for sure will make a difference in my opponent during my opponent's turn, as you'll see later on. I may not be able to activate them sooner or later, but depending on the situation, I would definitely have a chance of definitely preventing my opponent from doing more harm than helping himself. then pretty much trying to gain what he is trying to achieve throughout this duel. So from here on out, I can special summon Queen since I control 2 or more fairy type monsters, different, like not different names, but regardless, 2 or more fairy type monsters. I can only special summon her this way once per turn. And then I'll go into a synchro, a level 5 synchro, with synchro summoning using the level 1 tuner and level 4 non-tuner. And Blacksmith's effect will activate as I banish Druid from my graveyard. Oh, and then here I kind of fucked up. I didn't really read his effect, so from there, let's be real, it doesn't really count. It's supposed to be from my graveyard, my mistake. But regardless, I'm gonna continue with the turn. I go into Allegian Fairy Empress, and then on my turn, my opponent, like I said, he's playing a coin toss deck. Yeah, there's gonna be a lot of explaining. He gets to determine his coin tosses. And even though it's only once per, it should be more than once per turn to be honest, because he is paying 500. And the thing is, you're gambling in this duel, so gambling is not the best way to win. It won't really help whatsoever, but like overall, like I honestly don't mind competitive decks, but it shouldn't be a once per turn because it doesn't really make the deck a problem, if you guys get what I mean. So overall, it just really hinders the deck because since it's only once per turn, then they won't be able to make full use of their effects. The deck is only broken unless it really prevents your opponent from doing anything, or just kills your opponent on the first turn, basically. Those are the kind of cards that should be banned, but it should be more than once per turn, so it shouldn't be once per turn. No, honestly, it should be every turn because it's not gonna really do much. So it's just only ensuring that your monsters or your coin tosses prevail. Not that it stops your opponent from doing anything. So by land, no, he's good with the effects, so he gets special summon the Sneaky Thiever. Overall, fitting artwork for the archetype. I'm not sure about the field spell. It just looks like it's something that was taken from the 30s or before that. And then use a Sneaky Thiever to possibly get rid of my Dragon Maiden, but have a response. Thanks to Queen's effect. I'll tribute, and I chain with Spirit World. I pay 1,000. And I get a search. Alright, that's fine. I get to draw 2 cards thanks to Queen. He'll activate his Sniper's effect. I'm not sure what it does. But then I'll chain regardless. Because he actually gets, depending on the coin toss, he gets to target and destroy that many cards on the field. He gets shuffled into the deck instead. He's still looking into his extra deck, seeing what he can summon, probably a synchro summon. So he's going to the Robber Baron. Overall, seems like a fitting card for the deck. Although I'm not sure if it's possibly a reference from a certain pop culture game or whatever, because it looks like this artwork looks like it's from either a video game or from a recent TV show. Like, for who knows, I'm not even sure who the Robber Baron is. If anybody knows, they can leave a comment. And overall, it's just not enough. Like, I feel bad for my opponent. Just is enough to pretty much distinguish my field. And I already have control of this duel, so eventually I kind of feel bad because he's not gonna rage quit. He's eventually most likely gonna scoop. So I do get the search, but I gotta pay the 1,000 for cost. And I get finally a king from my deck to my hand. I get another Spirit World, and I get to normal summon Black Mage. Use his effect to search, and then that's when the scoop happens. Hopefully you guys enjoy the duel. Be sure to check for more upcoming content later in the future. Be sure to check your notifications, comment, like, subscribe. Thank you.